From danger to action, your flood protection checklist.
Flood Protection Secrets, the podcast to the protection against heavy rain and flooding by Dr. Flood, Andreas Klippe.
So the big challenge is, how can house owners like you and me get a flood-free home? How can business managers like you and me get a flood-free company? And how can public servants provide flood-free critical infrastructure and livable cities?
Flood Protection Secrets, the podcast by Dr. Flood, Andreas Klippe. This podcast is for foresighted and proactive people who do not want to shovel the muddy water out of their room while standing in the midst of the disaster.
Yes, hello! Welcome to another episode of Flood Protection Secrets. My name is Andreas Klippe and I want to take you around the world, if you like to. Around the world, tropical cyclones have different names, or tropical storms have different names. They are called hurricanes in the Atlantic and Northeast Pacific, cyclones in the Indian Ocean and South Pacific, and typhoons in the Northwest Pacific, including the Philippines and Southeast Asia. But they are all the same powerful storm system driven by warm ocean waters. I just want to give you a short summary of episode 119, the previous Flood Protection Secrets episode. If you have not listened to it yet, my recommendation to do so. In the last episode, we uncovered why today's storms have become so dangerous. Warmer oceans now evaporate far more moisture into the atmosphere, and shifting weather patterns cause storms to slow down and stay longer over the same location. This is why the recent Philippine storms, as an example, Typhoon Matmo, that is the international name, in the Philippines is known as Paolo, a bit tricky. They use two names. The Typhoon Kalmegi, locally known as Tino, and Typhoon Fangwong, Philippine name is Uwan, produced extreme rainfall and catastrophic flooding in late 2025, so October, November 2025. It was very recent. These storms were not bad luck, as some say. They were the new reality. And if storms are now stronger, wetter, and slower, then one question becomes unavoidable. What do we do about it? What do we do about it? That is why today's episode moves from understanding the danger to taking action with a clear and practical checklist every building owner must follow to stay flood-free. So after the recent storms in the Philippines, Typhoon Matmo, Typhoon Kalmegi and Typhoon Fangwong, I received the same question again and again. Dr. Klippe or Dr. Andy, how do we protect our building from flooding next time? These storms did more than damage. They left behind a warning. Kalmegi or Tino alone displaced over 500,000 people. Fangwong or Uban affected more than 1.7 million children. And Matmo, locally known as Paolo, flooded communities that had never seen water at this level before. People were shocked. But shock alone doesn't protect the building. So today we move from fear to action, because fear without action is useless. I will give you the exact checklist that engineers, facility managers, architects and responsible building owners must use today, not tomorrow. Because storms like Tino or Uwan don't wait for planning meetings. They don't care about excuses. They only care whether your building is ready or not. So here's a practical, no-nonsense guide for every building owner. Send this to your architect, send it to your facility manager, print it or put it on the wall. Checklist subject number 1, know your weak spots. Water follows the easiest path. Identify the openings where it will enter first. Main entrances, basement ramps, loading docks, parking garage, service doors, air ventilation grills and ground level, electrical rooms, elevator pits, windows or doors facing downhill. If water can reach it, water will enter it. So number 2 of the no-nonsense guide for every building owner, understand your flood path. Every rainfall has a direction. After a heavy rain, we walk around your building and observe. Where does water collect? Where does it flow from? Which road or slope directs water toward your building? Does water come from the river, street, drainage, or neighboring land? This is free and incredibly effective. You don't believe it? Some people might laugh about it, but why don't you do it? It's free. It's free and it really, really helps. So that brings us to point number 3, topic number 3 of the no-nonsense guide for every building owner. Sandbags are not flood protection. Let's repeat this clearly. Sandbags are not a flood protection system. They are too slow, too heavy, too dirty, not watertight, unsafe after flooding, impossible to deploy quickly in a real emergency. Yet people still rely on them until they fail. I call sandbags complete nonsense. Point number 3 of the no-nonsense guide for every building owner is point number 4. Only use engineered flood protection. Engineered flood barriers must include marine-grade aluminum. When it comes to aluminum. No plastic, please. A strong anchoring system, at least with M16, M20, M24 for all non-technicians. That is the diameter of the bolts that are used to attach anchor plates or middle supports or whatever to the ground, or even to attach side channels to the walls. Engineered flood barriers must include friction welded sleeves for extreme loads. Sometimes I see anchor plates that is ridiculous. That is like a junior screw compared to the senior bolts with M16 and 20 and 24. That is good enough to attach a painting or a photo at the wall, but there is no weight. That is lightweight. But when it comes to a storm, you know the pictures from your own experience and from the TV. That is not ridiculous anymore. That is not funny anymore. So friction welded sleeves. The difference is the simple quality. Ask for that. No trenches. I see sometimes barriers pushed into trenches. No dust, no mosquito breeding, no trip hazards. So if you use trenches, you all have these things. And in reality, when you need to use them, they don't work. What else? Engineered flood barriers must include anti-theft compression clamps that no neighbor or nobody else can sabotage your installation or can steal it. An FM ANSI 2510 certification. What classifies typical barriers? A DPWH pay item number, that is only for the Philippines. DPWH pay item number 1058 or 7030 compliance. A German engineered system, for instance, designed for 50 to 100 years. I always say the flood barriers I am and we are designing are good for 100 years with good maintenance, of course. No, that without maintenance it will not last that long. And What else? What you need? Engineered flood barriers must include an installation done by trained professionals. So if a supplier cannot explain their engineering, walk away. Anything less is a gamble. Number 5 of the no-nonsense guide for every building owner is protect what keeps you operative. Flooding is not just water on the floor. Flooding destroys elevators, generators, production lines, medical equipment. Flooding destroys IT systems, servers, vehicles, and flooding destroys inventory and electrical panels. Protect your building's vital organs, not just the walls. Number 6 of the no-nonsense guide for every building owner. Prepare your emergency deployment plan. A Ferrari is useless without a trained driver. A flood barrier is useless without trained people. You need a deployment plan, responsible persons, test installations, clear storage, time benchmarks, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever, replacement parts, annual drills with certification. Many buildings have barriers, but nobody knows how to use them. I have seen that so many times. That equals zero protection. A barrier without a plan is not protection, it's decoration. And finally, we arrive at number 7 of the no-nonsense guide for every building owner. Maintain your system. Good flood protection lasts, I mentioned it before, 50 to 100 years, but only with correct maintenance. Here comes the maintenance checklist. Inspect anchors, clean panels, replace gaskets when needed, check clamps, lubricate mechanisms, train new and old staff, update emergency plans annually. Why do I mention these simple things? Because in most of the cases, whenever I talk to people, they don't do it. They purchase flood barriers, they let them install one time. Perhaps they install it on their own a second and a third time, but then they don't care about it anymore. They don't clean it, they don't check it, they don't lubricate mechanisms in case it comes to door and gate systems or automatic systems. There's no training, there's no emergency plan, and that is of course something what will not work. Technology only works when it is technically perfect, it is well maintained, it is operated by trained people. This is what makes a system last 50 to 100 years. Here comes my golden nugget. The insiders know about it. So flood protection is not one product. It is a system of these decisions, planning, engineering, installation, deployment, and maintenance. And training, of course. If one link is weak, the system fails. If every link is strong, your building survives. Weak planning is equals to failure. Weak installation is equals to failure. Weak training is equals to failure. But strong planning plus strong engineering plus strong execution is equals to a building that survives while others do not. So right after this episode, please do one thing. Start your flood protection checklist today. Not tomorrow. You already saw what storms like Tino, Paolo and Uwan can do. The next storm is currently forming somewhere in the Pacific, Atlantic, Indian Ocean, South China Sea, Arabian Sea or Mediterranean Sea right now. The next storm is already forming somewhere over warm ocean waters right now. So waiting is gambling, and as I always say, if you want to gamble, go to the casino, but when it comes to flood protection, play it safe. So if you want real guidance, not theory, connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm Dr. Andreas Klippe, also known as Dr. Flood, German engineer, entrepreneur and book author. I share proven solutions from real projects in Southeast Asia, in the Middle East, in China, India or South Korea, and worldwide from Europe or the Americas or Australia. Send me a message with podcast so I know you are one of our listeners. And have the checklist. You know the risks. You have seen the storms and you have heard the warnings. Just take action now. This is Flood Protection Secrets. I'm Dr. Andreas Klippe. Stay safe and flood free. I wish and hope for you that you make the right decisions when it comes to your personal flood protection. And if you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to this podcast channel if you haven't already. Now it only remains for me to wish you a good day. Do something with it. Maybe until the next podcast episode. I would be very happy. See you then. As always, stay safe and flood free. Your Andreas Klippe and the whole Flood Experts team.
That's it again with a new episode of Flood Protection Secrets, the podcast by Dr. Flood Andreas Klippe, German engineer, book author, and head of the Flood Experts. What can Dr. Flood Andreas Klippe protect for you? Anytime? Worldwide? Contact us or just click through to www.floodexperts.de/bonus. Detailed engineering, German quality, safe. Flood protection secrets, the secrets you'll want to unfold.
Don't forget, you're only one flood barrier away.
Subscribe to the season, and you'll never be late for an episode.